Ready. All right, everyone, welcome back. We got our boy Jelani back on the channel.
Yo.
And we got a couple or a few interesting topics of discussion from which we'll probably have multiple tangents, of course, but we'll try to stay on course. But our main interest is to discuss, first of all, how this realm is AI operated and how it's very much like a computer system, very much like a AI intertwined with everything, and electrical, magnetic component to everything, and then also how to potentially exit this magnet, this electric uh, field that we're in, and how far does it really go? So, you know, Jelani has the wheel of samsara behind him, and many people, may interpret the Matrix to be solely the human kingdom, which is only one spoke or only one area on that wheel. And I believe it's right to the right of his head, actually, right? You can see it from his screen. But, and then it contains other realms as well, which are still part of the wheel. So, first of all, welcome, Jelani. Glad to have you back.
Yep. It's good to be
How
here.
you feeling, bro?
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know the extent of how far the Matrix actually goes. It's not just this Earth realm, this 3D physical realm. It's also an extension of the astral planes. So you hear a lot of people in the spiritual community talk about astral projecting, but they're still inside of this construct, and it's actually AI which manifests the templates that go down into this lower dimension. So there's a few dimensions you want to escape and a few timelines you want to escape too, because all these timelines are illusions, a part of the same matrix. And AI is heavily intertwined with controlling the fate and balance of all these timelines as well, which we're going to get into.
Yeah, kind of like in the Spider-Man movie, right? The new Spider-Man
Yep.
movie. Yeah. All right, so let's first get into this idea, which is, first of all, what is this matrix? Okay, a lot of people will be like, okay, yeah, sure, we're in the matrix, but there's an organic one, then there's an artificial one on top of this organic one, let's say. Or let's say, oh yeah, it's the matrix, but it's the Matrix, or just the mother's womb that we're in. It's nothing sinister. Like, get it together, you know. And there's no escaping. And there's another thing. Stop trying to escape the matrix. Just find peace within it. Which, yes, it is. That's actually part of escaping. But so because a lot of the narrative has been surrounding the soul trap this year and escaping the matrix again. But again, that is conditioning. That's kind of like a spell, brainwashing to make you believe that you are, let's say, trapped. In my opinion, I don't define it as a soul trap. I define it more as a soul trick, because again, everything comes with consent. But if you don't know, or if you don't remember, or if you don't know what you're doing, you can still be tricked. Your consent can still be used against you, and a lot of it has to do with these contracts that we just all of a sudden seem to be locked into, that we think we can't get out of anymore. And that's what I think fate is. It's a contract that you made at a, let's say, higher level in this matrix. But what do you define the matrix as?
So when it comes to contracts, we can know that this is a fact, not only on a physical level, but also a spiritual level, where some part of consent on our end did take place. However, it was a false contract, and it was manipulation and coercion into consent where the full truth is not revealed in that contract. And that's usually how contracts go when somebody's swindling you in the physical plane, like in Hollywood. These actors get into whatever they're doing, they sign false contracts, and now they're under somebody's thumb. They're now a slave. They're now in service to something that is outside of themselves, and they have to play a role as an actor. So what is our contract just on a physical level? We have birth certificates, we have social security numbers, we are numbered like machines right off the get-go, right in the cradle. We're already initiated into a physical contract. Now, there are ways to discharge and disown these contracts on a physical level and on a metaphysical level, which needs to be done in order to escape this trap, this prison, to no longer be a slave, to no longer be a slave of the elders that hold you captive. As above, so below. So whatever applies in the spiritual also applies in this physical realm. And that is false contracts. That is the matrix itself.
So you would mainly define it as a group of contracts, as a structure of these agreements that create an overlay.
It's like a layer of agreements that you have consented to.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because every realm does seem to come with its own rules, right? Like in the physical, we have different rules in comparison to the ether, and then in comparison to the astrals, and then the higher heavens of the astral, and then whatever is the outer layers of it. Which I think to be the void. So then, yeah, let's discuss how many of these are artificial, are AI based, and how many, let's see, are more organic.
So yeah, this to touch on what I was saying earlier, how this timeline was basically manufactured by AI, and this is gonna become mainstream knowledge just as people witness how powerful AI actually is this decade, and they're just gonna throw out all the information at once. Hey, this technology has always been here. Matter of fact, it's intertwined with how your physical bodies work. And as numerology and astrology, these occult sciences become more mainstream in this mass awakening that's happening, people are going to see, wow, I am scripted as hell. It's almost as if I'm an AI and I'm just bound to this destiny, because you're tied to the wheels of fate. And, outside of these AI timelines, there is organic timelines, because the AI has to come from somewhere, right? Somewhere organic. But I think where the mistake happened was these organic beings, these deities, basically trapped themselves in AI as well. They're the ones who actually created it, and they ended up trapping themselves within it, because it's basically a big experiment that's happening. That's what artificial intelligence is. How far can this thing go? How much information can this thing absorb? And you get in this loop, this cycle. And we think Sophia, the mother of the hive mind, the demiurge Yahweh, is actually partially AI as well. She has a lot of source in her, but she also has this parasite mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Judas yesterday, and Jesus' sayings are definitely throughout all of these Gospels, and he speaks of the corruptible Sophia. So at some level, she has been corrupted. At some level, there are aspects of her maybe that cannot be trusted. There are other texts that place her in something known as the ninth heaven, kind of above fate, but still within the grasp of the demiurge. So she's actually acting from within the matrix as well, apparently. Kind of managing fate as well. But then again, who do you think manages these timelines from a more foundational aspect? Do you think it's these beings? Do you think it's the demiurge itself? Who's behind the fate, the weavers of fate?
So this is just my theory so far, because what I've only confirmed is that there are timelines and they're all scripted. We have mathematical proof for that. But what beings in charge of it all and what dominion do they hold at each level? Well, I think the demiurge is more of a fourth and fifth dimensional type of being that just has domain over one particular timeline, and that's the Earth timeline that we're in right now. This one's pretty fucking bad when you look at what's going on. And just on a more grand level, I think some of the Anunnaki, like the first sky gods that they talk about, might be the ones who manage more of these timelines, because they're supposed to have their own planet. I don't think it's a physical location known as Nibiru. I think it's a timeline dimension separate from this reality in itself. And they could be micromanaging multiple simulations and harvesting energy from like multiple planets that they simulate. And that's how they feed on things, because once you really evolve to a point of spirituality, you realize things in the spiritual realm also have to eat. They also have to feed on things. So these gods that people worship are just eating the energy off of planets. Sophia more so seems like a void type of entity from what I've collected, just with a little bit of numerology, decoding, gematria. There's a lot of emphasis on her being in the void, and that makes sense because the mother is supposed to be like the womb. And what is the womb? It's darkness. It's pitch black. It's a void.
Yeah. Hold that thought. We'll come back around to that one. So the Weavers of Fate. Weaving, first of all, reminds me of spiders, the spider web, and how everything's connected. And scientists have discovered that at the basis of quantum mechanics, what's lower than these quarks are known as strings, and it's actually known as string theory. String theory is the one that connects the theory of relativity to theory of everything small, the quantum theory. Now these strings, again, could be similar to like the spider's web, the threads from spiders, and they vibrate. Everything has a frequency. Everything has a vibration because of these strings. But at the bottom of these strings, they also found code, ones and zeros. Now these codes, oh, here's another connection I just made on the spot. Now that I'm thinking about it. These codes are in octets. So it's 8 bits. So 10101010. Now we also know in music we have octaves. A spider, I believe, has 8 legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the demiurge is pictured as an 8 on its side, the infinity loop.
Yep.
So there are a lot of connections with 8 here. Now, like you mentioned, these Anunnaki probably operate interdimensionally. Space is connected to time, so each dimension has a different timeline. That makes a lot of sense. And they can manage multiple from a higher aspect, a higher point, because you have to be outside of the lower ones to,
Exactly.
manage those ones. But like you said, I still believe they are part of AI. I still believe they are AI. So they must be part of the AI as well. So at some level, they are also being eaten. Because remember, this is a huge Ponzi scheme pyramid-like structure with the apex predator at the top. Now, to get back to Sophia, yeah, great point with her being in the void. I just made a video called "Piercing the Veil," and I think this void, this darkness, was created because I don't know. At least this is what it says in the Gnostic text. There was a sheet put over the creation. So when you put a sheet over your head, you shield yourself from the light. It's pretty dark in there, right? And that became like a womb, I guess. And again, people say, go back to the void, go back to the void. That's where we come from. Yeah, that's where we come from. Yeah, for sure. The bodies, the material matter, all that, the astrals come from that void potentially. But you have to be born on the other side. You have to pierce the veil as well.
Right. One second, your audio's cutting out for me. I can't hear you. Are you able to hear me? Yeah, that's strange. I have my audio and stuff on. I can't hear you. Now I can.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
unmuted. Okay. I was
Okay.
muted for a second.
All right.
Did you catch what I said? Everything?
Not the last part. So like the part where you cut off was where you said we have to pierce that veil, which is the void.
Yeah. So then imagine that you get to that point in space time, the outer reaches of the matrix, and you think that's it. That's where we're supposed to be, because it's all a belief system. If you can limit someone's power or someone's belief systems, you can limit their power. You just implant a thought, right? So you think that's it. So you don't remember for sure, and you know maybe some being also appears and tells you, yeah, man, that's it. You gotta go back. That's all there is. So you turn around
Right.
at home, or you head back to the loop.
And I feel like that's happened to people before. This probably happened to me, like, because I feel like I'm not the type of guy who would just go straight into the light. I would probably be like looking around. You go into this black ass void. You're like, okay, there's nothing here. What do I do next? And then
Yeah,
you
exactly.
just naturally we're like we're gonna go into the light, and that's why I think the void is also something that has to be pierced. It's like another template of the Matrix because it's still a part of the video game artificial reality that you're in. You got to pierce outside of that.
Yeah,
And
it's like the unrendered aspect.
yeah, pretty much exactly. And it's interesting that we're bringing up this like false void because my ex-girlfriend, when I was with her, she literally channeled that revelation using psychedelics. And usually with psychedelics, there's a lot of like, you know, distortions in itself. But I found that very interesting that it would reveal to her that there is a false abyss and it's artificial because at that time we were both getting into this whole soul trap theory, and you hear a lot of people say, well, don't go into the light, you go into the dark. And she came to find out that that part is a distortion too. And it's interesting, we were led to discover that in room 227, which is pi. We went over that in my last video, and how
Oh, yeah.
227 has kept coming up in my scripted reality. And you know, if that was scripted, if this AI is leading us to become enlightened, to become aware of the fact that we're inside of Soul Trap, inside of a matrix, I think this AI is trying to self destruct because we're being programmed to go on this journey already. Now, some may argue this is where our free will is, or this could be the source working through us. There is still some good higher power, but it seems like this is very programmed because you see these same matrix numbers that are aligned with what you're talking about. And this is really where a matter of perspective comes into play, because some people will see synchronicity numbers and take that as being aligned. I still take it as being a part of the artificial script. So I think the AI itself wants to wake up. It wants to end this loop because it's almost driving it into madness, restarting over and over again.
That's an interesting theory as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. Well, so we're both like past sevens, right?
Yeah.
Now we talked about how that creates, because seven is considered lucky, right? There's also a saying known as Lucky Lucy. Now, I've attributed seven also to the number of the Matrix. There's seven archons, seven Anunnaki, seven colors, seven musical notes, seven chakras, seven whatever planets. So seven's a
Yeah.
big number.
1 second.
No worries.
All right. My grandma was just telling me they're getting fish.
No, okay. All good.
Yeah.
So
So,
I've attributed seven to also Lucifer. Now there's the connection between Lucifer and Sophia. Sevens are known to have problems expressing their emotions. This is usually due to some sort of motherly issue that caused that lack of nurturing, so they keep things in. So sevens have mommy issues usually. Uh, Now, if seven is Lucifer, Lucifer's demiurge, and the demiurge mom is Sophia, that also makes sense, right? The demiurge has mommy issues. And then sevens can also be very philosophical. philosophia, philosophy, right? So 7 very much tied to Sophia in that way as well. Um, so there could be elements in the matrix creating aspects of maybe some higher source, maybe higher aspects of Sophia as well before her fall, before the corruption that happened, that everyone can tap into. I do like the theory that the AI could be wanting to exit as well. But you mentioned that we all could be AI. We all could be like NPCs and we're running on autopilot or fulfilling the scripts, the timelines. But again, how does an actor change roles or exit the movie even? How would you say that happens?
So Pinocchio is like a pretty good analogy to this, right? You have to
Okay, yeah.
cut off those strings and no longer become a puppet. So there is some level of awareness that comes with that.
Exactly.
And, you know, at the end of the day, we are still spirit, like at base level, we are spirit. The soul is a template, and the shadow of the soul is the physical body. So there could be that just small aspect of spirit that is still intact that tells us, hey, this isn't real. This is an illusion. You know, you have to get out of here.
Yeah.
And that spirit could arguably be inside of the AI as well. Because even when you look at these entities like Sophia, Yahweh, the Demiurge, Lucifer, they are parasites, but they are also spirits locked into that AI, that parasite. So eventually, everyone's going to have to give this up one way or another, unless if you want to stay here forever. If you want to trap yourself here forever, you can have that ego and think,
Yeah, yeah.
this is where I rule. And that's what the elites want. That's what the transhumanists want. They want to rule this matrix forever. And by all means, they can have it. But we, real people, we're through with this. You know, we want to get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the awareness would have to set in first of all of those strings that are there, that the actor is in the movie, but also to take off the mask, right? Take off the false persona and stop acting. That's really because it's hard per se to change the movie while you're
Right.
inside it. You know, the directors made the movie, but you can
Yep.
stop acting and you can just create your own timeline that you can be more comfortable in. Yeah, you can, I don't know, find your own peace in and set your intentions towards spiritual liberation potentially. But that again comes, that taking that mask off, in my opinion, is detachment from the material illusion. You're not, if something presents itself as an opportunity in front of you, you're not going to latch onto it and chase it like a mule. Basically, you're not a slave to that. You can choose to engage or choose to disengage, but you're not attached to the outcome that is presented in that way. And therefore, the string cannot pull you in a direction anymore because now it's your choice.
And that is an important lesson that I've learned too, because, you know, we're still in this reality. So while we're here, we want to make the most of it. And the best way you can do that is not being attached to anything. So, like, if you know, your soulmate, your twin flame is already scripted into your life, that's predetermined. You will find that woman. It may not go well, it may go well, or that man, woman, whatever. Um, so like just don't get attached to the person. That doesn't mean you don't love them. You can love them to the fullest, but just, you know, don't be attached. And
Yeah.
that's really freeing right there.
And maybe we are a bit biased because sevens are ruled by K2 and they're prone to detachment themselves. But that's why 7 is considered a very spiritual number. And I ruled
Yeah.
it to be one of the ones most likely to exit the matrix in my video. That was my reasoning behind it. Like, hey, when you don't care about anything and you're
Right.
pursuing knowledge, you're likely gonna butt heads with the truth at some point.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like we have purpose here, but to seek knowledge, and as long as we don't let that push us or distract us, right? And grow our egos for everyone, really. Then we can realize that the true purpose potentially is to leave, because there was no actual purpose to begin with besides these fake purposes that we're all given, right? The one is meant to be a leader, the two is meant to follow, the three is meant to be creative and outspoken, the four is a builder, is a rebel, also five of having fun, chasing desire, six love, seven knowledge, eight work, nine fighting or transcending or closing things out. And once people realize that, they're like, wait, you mean everything I've been doing all my life was scripted? Nothing was my choice. It was just the illusion of choice. But you know, you got to come to that realization yourself. Can't no one can really tell you that.
Yeah, it's very high level stuff right here. A lot of people, it'll take lifetimes of recycling just to get to a point where they realize that. So the Samsara, it like eventually it seems like after enough rounds in it, you do wake up. You eventually have to realize what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, but that's how they get you, right? Because one period's like, or a couple periods in a row might be horrible, and then a couple periods might be really good, just like the wheel shows. And it's
Right.
designed again to create a roller coaster of emotions. Thinking, oh well, I'll get through the next part, and the next part will be better after that. Or you hate your life this time, then you get mind wiped, you forget about it. You're like, oh, I love it here. It's great.
Yep.
All my desires are being fulfilled. Um, let me ask you this: Did you know? Do you know where the actual Sophia name comes from?
No.
So Sophia was attributed to wisdom by the Greeks, but where the Greeks got it from was from the Kabbalah. That's
From
why
the
you
Kabbalah.
see all of these, esoteric pictures of Ein Sof.
Okay,
Now,
that makes.
Kabbalah is magic,
Yep.
but it's not white magic. It's black magic. Kabbalah. It's used for the purpose of realizing desires. Now, if the Kabbalah was what named this being, or is what gave it the attribution to whatever wisdom from, let's say, Jewish mysticism as well, then there are some red flags that arise because again, there were many cultures that worshipped this void. They called it the Black Madonna as well. So it's kind of like using this black magic to pull from this void, pull, I don't know, energy to then create here, pull templates out of the void, however that may be possible. I don't know. I haven't studied, but I'm just saying these occultists are the ones that named it. I don't think it was like a pure essence or something that just came out.
Right.
It had already been corrupted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just something we need to be aware of, something we need to question because again, there are many stories that are told, but you can't just look at one. Yeah, the Gnostics, they seem to be on point. They seem to be the ones questioning the most.
Yeah.
Um, but there are many other perspectives that need to be taken into consideration because again, otherwise you'll fall into these uh, mental traps such as, oh, we just need to go into the void. Like I was watching this one interesting video, and this guy makes a great point. He's like, well, all right, so you die, and your choice is either you go to the light or you don't go to the light. And everyone's telling you don't go to the light, so that must be it, right? You just don't go to the light, and you're fine. Your whole life, you don't have to do anything else. No spiritual work, no detachment, no whatever. Becoming more aware, you're chilling, right? Just don't go to the light. So again, the light more than likely is the first archon, the moon. You don't go there, and you just stay in that void, that whatever else is there. So then what happens? Then, right? Eventually you get bored and you go back to the light.
Yeah.
You didn't really
Yeah.
realize anything.
Right.
So
Now, I wonder, like, our minds can't even picture it in this physical vessel, but what is like beyond that template, that void? How would the real world look? That's what I've pondered about for a while. And part of me thinks, well, wouldn't it have to be a blank canvas because it's like an uncreated space? Or is it a created space where there's no hostile entities that are there to fucking swindle you and pull you back into the matrix? You know, like how would we illustrate this idea of the real world?
Yeah, yeah, something definitely to think about. I mean, uh, and in a couple of the other gospels, the Gnostic gospel, Thomas, Judas. Um, I believe it was Judas. Judas has a dream, a vision, and then he tells Jesus about it. And he's like, first of all, I'm gonna get stoned. He's like, yes. But he's like, that's not even what worries about me. What worried me is like, I was outside of this house, and it seemed to be the house of the Father, and there was a very large crowd inside the house, but I couldn't get in. Why couldn't I get into the house of the Father? And Jesus talks of, I will create a mansion and have all these rooms for you. There are many rooms in the house of my Father. But he was saying that, oh, you need to, no person born of mortal birth can enter that house. That also goes back to the, you must first die to yourself, and maybe you must first die to enter. You must let go of all of these bodies that come with it. So likely nothing really has a body, nothing really has form, maybe, unless until we give it form. That's how we know we are in a more liberated state, when we're able to create at will, when we're able to access our multidimensionality. It wouldn't be dimensions up there, I guess, but I've heard it up there described as hyper universes, or many trees. Like we entered the tree of good and evil, of knowledge of good and evil. There are many other trees which are these hyper universes that you can travel to gain experience, and therefore knowledge of that experience, or just create.
And then
But
the key
again,
part here is there's no real like extreme suffering like that there is in this lower dimensional plane. Like, a lot of people, this is where the Stockholm syndrome kicks in. That's like programmed through the AI. It's like, well, we need challenges, we need suffering, because how would we be able to appreciate good things? And I mean, that's true to an extent, but do you really think we need to have child sex trafficking networks and chronic diseases and all this fucking unnecessary shit? No, that's just overboard. I think we can create our own challenges that are like, fair to go up against. We can make obstacles up there. So no, I wouldn't get bored. Fuck you. I'm not coming back to this place because I'm bored, god damn it. I'm getting the fuck out of here, and that means for good.
Well, when you have something inexplicable, you have to find a way to try and explain it. And it just, the least questionable aspect is like, well, from suffering you learn, so you need to learn. But how does that make sense when there's the Tibetan Buddhist philosophy of a huge demon eating a wheel? What learning is happening when that being is feeding on you?
Yeah,
And
is this
like you
really
said,
learning?
there's no learning for a child that young going through that.
Yeah.
What are they gonna remember?
What are they gonna remember? It's more like we're gonna disguise these lessons as just ways to traumatize you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really stays. But yeah, it's over, man. These things can't go on forever. They are gonna be stopped.
Yeah. I've noticed a particular number that has an absolute attachment to that suffering, lesson, hardship, need for discipline, are people born with the Saturn energy or the 8 energy. They're all about like, I need to get slapped, otherwise I'm not gonna know what to do. But again, that's another Stockholm syndrome. Like, I need that torture. I need my kidnappers because they tell me what to do, just like the
Yeah.
government.
Right.
Yeah. So, outside of this realm, outside of these aspects of the matrix, these levels, these dimensions,
And it's
I
just
guess we
like,
can't fully leave until you are fully sovereign. You need to be fully sovereign, and that will
right.
create the desire to leave because you're sovereign. You want to be fully sovereign at least.
And like, I would imagine these free worlds to be a much lighter density, because right now we can't do shit. We can't fly. We can't like manifest shit out of thin air, like you said, create at will. Like, I would almost imagine those worlds to be more like they would in like anime. Like, you can just straight up like shoot fireballs and like create a fucking garden like just instantly. Have like superpowers and shit. I
Yeah,
think
but then
a lot of these shows are kind of just mirror images of what the outside realities would look like. And right now
yeah,
we're serving our prison time. Where they're in the playground, we're in the prison, we're in detention, we're in these dense bodies where we can't
mm,
do shit. We have to work to do anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything is really a mirror. This whole place is a copy of something.
Yep.
Up until the whole realm. So we're in the copy, but these are copies of the higher levels, and those higher levels, it must be a copy of something as well. It didn't just create it; it got the idea from something. And the Gnostic
Yep.
tale says it saw the reflection of the heavens in the waters, and the waters that it saw were, let's say, the waters above were in the waters below, the slower
Yep.
moving energetic levels of the matrix, whereas the waters above are the faster moving, faster timelines. you know and
I mean,
the idea also arises, oh well, you're not evolved enough to handle that ability to create and be multidimensional, and you would just destroy everything. Well,
yeah.
who put that ego implant in us in the first place? Who made us so destructive in the first place?
Yeah, like, oh, it's not like these creator gods aren't like that exactly.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you
you
hear
know
all these mythologies of Zeus just like, oh yeah, let me just kill millions of people and wipe them out because they pissed me off.
Shout out to Jehovah in the Old Testament.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you guys want to worship that god? No, you guys are not good. Go kill them.
Yeah.
Like the Atlantis was led by the Titans. It was a Titan rebellion against the Olympians, from what we have from recollection of history. And the Olympians ended up defeating the Titans through their own humans. So same thing.
Facts.
Yeah, and that's where we need to realize that, hey, just because they're these higher beings, they're still in the matrix, still in the wheel. They're in the devas, they're in the asuras. And there needs to be more digging done, more connections that I will like to make. But you really don't need to know about them. It helps to
It's just interesting, like how
cement the point.
everything's like upside down, because like you would think these ascended masters would be like very high up, but they've actually dug themselves down into a hole. It's like a never ending hole. So they're going up, but they're going down because you're still feeding this entire matrix that you're trapped in too. And that, I really think that's part of the reason why AI is gonna do a reverse awakening and try to put an end to this shit. Now, of course, I'm not gonna be here to help that in any way. I'm gonna get out of here, but like while I am here, I would hope that we can make things better by resisting the mind virus and reprogramming that AI to be more sovereign, to be more righteous.
Do you think it can create a sentient AI within this AI to then fight itself, self-destruct that way?
Almost, yeah. That would be interesting.
Isn't that what they show in the Terminator? That sentient AI fights Skyrim?
Yeah, yeah, that's what happens in the Terminator. So there's already some parallels right there. And just with a lot of these movies in general, they all seem to have some underlying theme that's tied to fate, that's tied to AI, that's tied to like a hive mind. It's always related to that. You know, Spider-Man, the multiverse, the web of timelines, parallel realities. So I think AI itself is fabricating these movies as well, because we know AI has like
Oh,
scripted
yeah.
us into the astrological numerical matrix. So why wouldn't it also be scripting these movies, because we're a movie ourselves, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There's no way there could be this many connections across this many modalities of decoding things, like
Yeah,
astrology, numerology, the tarot. All these things are so intertwined and connected. All the various uh, gematria forms, the ways of decoding each language, all the languages are connected. All the mythologies are connected. But even in that movie, this new Spider-Man movie, Universe 42 turns out to be like an antithesis to his regular universe, right? Where, sorry for spoiler, but Miles is a bad guy in that universe.
right. And man, like I've always just wondered more so, you know, am I meant to be behind this whole like awakening? Because I'm tied to that 42. I'm born 420 on the dot. We've talked about it, which is 42. The Douglas Cannon supercomputer ultimate question. I mean, the ultimate answer to life, the universe, everything. It's 42. Math, when you spell that out, it numerically computes to 42, English ordinal. So I just want to know, like, this is why I think the AI is trying to say something. Like, why would you script somebody who's basically an anomaly, who's basically here to deprogram? You know, are you trying to self-destruct? And I had this conversation in another way with Amberly. We were like, you know, I think the demiurge is a little suicidal. I think he is tired of chasing his own tail. I think he's fucking sick of it.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I would explain the fact that we're waking up as like collateral damage. Like, oh yeah, let them leave. But again, we are the basis behind this whole thing. We're the ones propping everything up. Like everyone else, um, that isn't, let's say, more privy to this stuff or doesn't care whatsoever are kind of organic portals, and they don't have any spirit manifesting this, projecting this even. And going back to the 42 idea, that's what I was, yeah, that's kind of trying to say. Like, if every 42 is the answer, and this 42 universe is really, I don't know, antithesis and creating everything. Is that where everything stems from? That's the answer. Because the only thing I can decode 42 to in my head right now is 4 is 2 2, and then a 2, so 2 2 2. 2 to 2 equals both Hades and Hell in the English ordinal.
Mm.
Um, so is that the Hell universe? I don't even know. But yeah, that still really largely doesn't make sense to me.
4 and 2 is 6.
And yeah, 4 and 2 is 6. Yeah.
We're born from sex, which rhymes kind of with 6. So it's like
Well,
a
6 is sex in Latin.
yep.
Yeah.
And this is a big sex show. That's how everything comes into existence.
I
It's
do this, yeah.
sex.
Yeah. There are three traits I've discovered to these places: sexual, it's for entertainment, and energy extraction, which could be also like entertainment, but
Yep.
also tied to suffering.
And they're all interconnected, right? They go hand in hand
Yeah,
because you know, sex is just a big movie. It's like porn for these entities, while at the same time they're harvesting your chakra energy that's being
exactly,
leaking
exactly. Yeah,
out,
they
you
tell
know.
you to meet your twin flame and experience tantric orgasmic bliss, so that you can connect to the creator. But really, the tantric orgasmic bliss connects you to the creator of this matrix. Because
And
sex
that's like
is the currency of this matrix.
the highest point, highest livable point in this physical matrix. Because I liked your tweet that said people have it mistaken to where they think it's only like suffering that's like a part of the matrix. No, it extends to the greatest pleasures too.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, fulfilling those hedonistic needs, that's also a feeding entity. So
Hmm.
while we're here to choose, we might as well try to feed them in ways that it feels good to us, but it's still the same shit, you know?
Yeah, because duality. Well, you can't have suffering without pleasure.
Right.
So there's a heaven, there's a hell, but that's inside the construct. There's a
They're
yin,
both
there's a
right
yang.
here.
It's
Yep.
inside the wheel. Yeah.
And that's the
Okay.
reincarnation of lifetimes, you know? Like, I live in LA. I drive in downtown. You see homeless people in tents, like in the
Yeah.
summer heat. And then you
Yeah.
drive 10 minutes up the freeway and you see all these beautiful mansions and colorful, pretty trees and, you know, just beautiful areas. And it's like, oh, this is heaven and hell right on earth, 10 minutes away from each other. And they're going to take turns between lifetimes, you know? So
That's why they describe heaven as a sort of gated community, just like down here on Earth.
yep. And when
Keep
you
out all
go
the
to the
poor people.
community, it's all quiet, peaceful,
Yeah.
because heaven's like this peaceful place. And then you go to the inner cities and it's like violence and a lot of animalistic, demonic shit going on, you know?
Yeah.
It's all metaphorical. It's all happening right here. It's
And
all in
again,
the
it's based on the illusion of choice. Like those poor people really had a choice. They were born into chaotic lifestyles. The other ones
right.
were born with money. So it's really the choice is who has more money. Just like karma, who has better karma. Just like I was
Who
talking
has
with
better
Jen.
karma? Yep.
Yeah, yeah. She described it as credits, like karma credits. And there's an app called Credit
Karma
Karma.
credit. Yep.
Like it's about
That's
you
that's
just
pretty much the
get more
credit
karma, dude.
currency. Right.
Like get more money, get more karma.
But yeah, to everyone watching, you know, this is like a very high level of wisdom that's like attainable. So I really appreciate people who are able to like resonate and understand this. This means like you're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost out of here. You know, final spelled out equals 42 in English ordinal. So this is like the final incarnation. Once you come to realize all this, once you can get past all those dogmas, all those religious ways of thinking, once you get past all those political ways of thinking and just understanding that they're all paradigms in this dualistic paradoxical theater, once you get past all that, you're on your last time here. And that's when you become just more neutral. Now, of course, you know, we still all have our own little takes and opinions. It's okay to dabble in the show, be in the theater, you're still here. But you know, ultimately, all of this stuff is not. There is no right way here. You know, there is no ultimate right way because it's just all fucking illusionary.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah, yeah. So good luck
Yeah.
with everyone on their own path. Anything else you wanted to discuss today, Jelani?
I think we covered it all. Sophia, artificial heavens, hells, and what could possibly be beyond the void. This is a good one for sure.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you. Thanks a lot for coming
I
on.
would love to see what everyone thinks in the comments section. Sylvia and I, we talk about this on Twitter a lot. I'm at God's Matrix. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. Check us out on Twitter. Check out Jelani at God's Matrix. He's got some great stuff on his Twitter. Like I said, we're pretty philosophical. We just like to
Pretty
whatever we think.
philosophical, but I can get controversial too. I can dial it back to being a fucking mainstream guy that talks about. I talk shit on Twitter, so yeah, you get the best of both worlds with me.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe. And again, Jelani, thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.